Hello and welcome to Where No Pod Has Gone Before. We are a science fiction podcast. I am your host, Julian.
And I am your co-host, Titan.
And today we have a special episode, not discussing a particular series or film. We're going to be having a look back at the Star Wars Disney era specifically, because at the end of this month, Mandalorian and Grogu is coming out, which I feel is a very interesting inflection point for the franchise. I think that's how it's going to be looked back upon. So I thought it would be fun to look at how we got here and how we feel about it. Because Titan, you and I haven't discussed Star Wars yet, but it is a big
we haven't.
thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and of course
we've stayed away from it for the time being.
Yeah, and of course when this comes out, it is going to be the 4th of May.
Indeed.
And for some reason, that particular date has meaning for adult children, I guess. I like actual anniversaries, not silly puns, right? As days.
Yeah.
There's also
but I definitely still wear all my shirts and do everything on that day. I mean, come on.
But there is a day in May that is an anniversary. Like the original came out in May, right? It's right there for you. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we do have a special guest today. So Titan, why don't you take a moment to introduce her?
Yes, yeah. So we have definitely my resident Star Wars expert on the pod today. It's my very own sister. Tammy, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so
Hello. It's great to be here.
Yeah. We obviously watched a lot of movies when we were kids together. And I remember the one time saying, "Right, Tam, come. It's finally time. We've got to watch Star Wars. You have to do it." And she was not keen, eh? She was not keen. She was like, "I don't want to watch Star Wars." I sat her down, forced her to do it, and that was the end. I mean, since then, she hasn't been able to shut up about it. So I definitely claim credit for introducing her to it. But since then, she has very much taken over. So, Tam, why don't you give us a little introduction? Tell us about all the Star Wars expertise that you have accumulated over the years.
Right. Yeah. Props to you for introducing me. Pretty much like from 13 onwards, it just became my whole personality. Then it was over for me. I remember when I was 13, I told people only to call me by Obi-Wan Kenobi because I just connected with him the most. And I was like, my name's no longer Tammy. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi only. I had a lot of friends when I was 13, obviously. Ever since then I've been keeping as up to date as I possibly can. I have not watched the new Maul series, I must say. So don't spoil that for me if you have.
Well, yeah. On that, I'm just going to come out and say it that the cartoons are fake. They're not real. I'm not interested in them. Maul is dead. Ahsoka's not a real person. That's just for me. You can yell at me however much you want. I'm not interested in that stuff. But more power to you if that's your thing. But the cartoons are interesting for today's discussion, of course.
Because I think Tam, confirm with me. I think you've watched all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, whatever the other one's called. For the Disney era, forgotten what it is. I think you've watched those anime things. She's watched it all. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah. I watched Resistance, which I do not recommend Resistance. I mean, not that. Listen, at some stage you've got to be like, this is actually for kids, and that's why I shouldn't actually judge this as like. I don't, you've just got to let it be for kids sometimes. So,
yeah. Maybe we should put like a little disclaimer. Like at the end of the day, this is just for kids, right? I mean, we're all grown adults talking about this
Exactly.
very seriously.
We all started watching it when we were kids, and we just haven't stopped, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
they're kids' films.
But I think, yeah, indeed. But Titan, I think you and I, we could do a little Star Wars background as well for the purpose of this. So I think I was a little bit late to them, so maybe 14, 15. But just, I was a big pop culture kid, so I kind of knew everything already. So once I finally got into it, I was all in. I don't think I was a very original person. I was, I love Empire Strikes Back, and I hate the prequels. And yeah, opinions might have changed over the years, I think, but yeah, a pretty standard story with this. I think the more interesting thing was showing my girlfriend Star Wars like 2 years ago for the first time, and she has like no pop culture knowledge, right? And so she was like, "Fine, you can show me the first trilogy, just that, okay, just that."
Yeah.
And then halfway through the first film, she's like, "If you look at R2D2 wrong, I will cut you." It's just like, and then we finished the trilogy, and she's like, "We need more. Well, let's do the next one." And she's so excited. She's like sitting on the edge of the couch. And we're watching Phantom Menace, and Jar Jar Binks is there. She has no idea any of the cultural legacy of this creature. And she looks at me and she goes, "It's significantly worse." And she was like heartbroken about it. And she had the authentic experience, which I thought was pretty special in in the 2020s to have that.
Right, yeah. I mean, did she know about Vader being Luke's father?
That was the one thing she knew. It was the one thing, and I tried to like lie. I was like, "No, that's from Harry Potter," and she's like, "No, I know it's from Star Wars." But yeah.
Well, at least she wasn't like, "Oh, that's from Toy Story. They're copying Toy Story."
No, like I said, no pop culture knowledge, so I don't think she's seen Toy Story yet. But yeah,
okay,
maybe I can work on that next. But yeah,
well, at least you've shown them in the correct order then.
Yeah,
exactly. So Titan, what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I remember. I think I probably watched the first one, maybe 6 or 7 years old. It was one of the few, because my dad, along through the years, told me to watch a few things. He's like, "No, you got to watch this." But Star Wars was one of the few things that my mom was also like, "No, you have to watch this." Right? So my mom and my dad were both like, "Star Wars is something that you have to watch." So yeah,
Really?
they sat me down, watched the first. Yeah, absolutely. Even mom was like, "Yeah, you have to watch Star Wars."
This is news to me.
Well, I did that for you, right? I ensured that you had the correct education as well. But then, yeah, so I watched the original trilogy. Loved it, obviously. Then also watched the prequels when I was still young. So, I mean, the first time I watched the prequels, I think I had the genuine kid reaction where I absolutely loved them as well.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I was like playing make-believe, right, I was playing prequels. So, I mean, I love the prequels. I think I've always kind of hated the second one, Attack of the Clones. Never really liked that one. But the others, absolutely loved. Also, for a long time, I claimed fame by saying, no, I watched a real Star Wars movie in cinema. Because I went to watch the release of Revenge of the Sith in cinema. And for a time, I thought no one was ever going to be able to say that again, right? Like no one is ever going to have watched the original release of a Star Wars movie in cinema. Obviously, now everyone's done it, but
yeah.
I still remember doing that and not really knowing the whole story, but still loving it. And then I went through a stage where I realized the prequels were terrible, started hating them, and then thank goodness the sequels came out because now I love the prequels again. Perhaps a little bit ironically, but whatever. I love them, right? They've got good memories. I enjoy them again. It's always fun. I mean, I remember Tam and I sat down with a lot of alcohol a few years ago and watched them with all the memes and references and everything, and it was an absolute time. So the sequels, haven't really enjoyed them, I think, in general, but I think there's parts that I've enjoyed and parts that I haven't. Right? It's not all.
Hey, give it 20
Just
years. Maybe you'll
hate
come
them.
around to it.
Exactly.
Like everyone did with the prequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, so I would say, let's keep in mind that where we're going to go now, the prequels are still hated, right? I would say let's go with the assumption that that's largely true for all the reasons I think everyone understands.
Largely true. I mean, I do think they're getting a little bit of a bounce back, but I might not say that they hated, but they accepted as being worse.
No, but I'm saying, like, when we go back, we're going back in time now. I think at that stage,
yes,
it was they were hated, right? So let's go to 2012. Disney buys Lucasfilm for $4 billion US dollars, and acquires Star Wars and Indiana Jones as well, I guess, right? But that's not really relevant here. And they very quickly announced that there's going to be a sequel trilogy, right? So in our minds, we hate the prequels because it's too much CGI. It's too different from what we know, right? I think that's so. We're getting cast announcements. The trailers are coming out. They announced that the expanded universe is no longer canon, which upset a lot of people, but that was absolutely the right call to make, I think. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
I suppose, yeah.
Because then you have to give yourself space to.
The non-canon is crazy.
Because I think have you read a little bit about that, Tam? The sort of non-canon universe after Revenge of the Sith and that sort of stuff.
I mean, I've dabbled in it. I used to have like those old tapes of Dad's were like non-canon, and it was some weird stuff as well. So I'm kind of glad that that's not canon.
But everything is building up to The Force Awakens, right? And in charge, steering the whole ship all this time, is producer and the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, right? Who gets a lot of hate, maybe deserved or undeserved, we can decide, but is also often the subject of like the anti-woke brigade, because they love to put a face of a woman on a thumbnail and then be like, oh, the woman ruined everything, which is nonsense, because like she produced she produced E.T. and Jurassic Park. Like, she knows what she's doing.
It's the same thing with Jodie Whittaker in Doctor Who, right? Yeah. Everyone's like, you give the role to a woman and look what she does. It was not her fault. It was the writer, right?
Yeah.
No. I mean, same with Ray and Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of people think that a producer's job is just to like penny pinch and show up on set and be like, no, don't do it that way because it's cheaper to do it a worse way. And that's not like, that is a little bit true, that you have like, they're there to watch a budget. But like, the act of making a Star Wars film is crazy. You have to get the world's best crew people, the best camera operators. You get the best of everyone, all available at the same time. You need to convince Harrison Ford to sign a new contract, You need to convince everyone to come back. You need to get everyone there at the same time. You need to distribute the film, so you need to be talking with cinemas and stuff. So the actual act of getting out Star Wars films is incredibly difficult. I mean, she's very good at her job, but we can discuss the creative choices made there. But I really resent this. Like, she's responsible for everything that went wrong and nothing that went right. So
and I mean,
on the same page.
I mean, you also have to take risks, right? You
exactly.
If you just reproduce the exact films that everyone knows, they're going to say, why the hell did you do this? They already existed. And then if you change them, everyone's going to hate them because they're going to be like, why didn't you produce the same films, right? So
Well, that's
it's
exactly
always
what's
going
going to happen as we see now.
to. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why in general, I tend to hate sort of remakes and franchises and all of that. But if you're going to do it, that's the risk.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk a little about the Force Awakens, which comes out to like massive, massive, massive commercial success, right? And I remember it was always pitched to us as the Star Wars that you know and love, right? So it's more
Right.
original trilogy. We got the cast is back. It's practical effects and more familiar territory, I guess. And when it came out, I simply loved it because I was a full-on prequel hater, so it was so far from the prequels in safe territory that I loved it.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's where I was in December 2015. I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys. And
No, I mean, I think similar. The very first, for me, the opening shot of a Star Wars movie is very important. I think the opening shot of A New Hope, probably one of the greatest opening shots of all time. I mean, you're sitting
yes,
there, you're
fully
looking at
agree.
a planet, and then from behind you, this massive
Yeah.
spacecraft comes, and then you realize that's the small one, right?
Yes.
And then an even bigger one comes, and you're like,
Iconic.
oh, yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And you
There's
sort of
always a bigger
expecting
fish.
Hey, hey.
Oh
The
god.
expert is in the room.
Indeed. I can't believe we missed that. Actually, yeah. But yeah, you're sitting there. You've got a planet, and you're expecting this big ship to come in, and A Force Awakens, it comes from the wrong direction, right? It's sort of a silhouette, and it comes from the bottom. And I was like, oh, they've nailed this, right? It was the shot you were
Yeah.
expecting, but it was different as well. And I think everything about that movie I was hopeful for as well, because it was all like, okay, I see what they're setting up. I'm excited for the next ones, right? Like,
Yes.
Force Awakens wasn't by itself. I was like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But I thought it was setting everything up really well. I was like, okay, this one's similar to what we've seen, but they're setting things up. It's going to go in an interesting direction. I was really excited at the end of that movie to see what they come up with next. I think that was my sort of overall impression of it.
Yeah, the fact that it was J.J. Abrams directing, right? I feel like because he proved what he could do with Star Trek, right? So he was seen as maybe
Right.
he always fancies himself, I think, as a bit of a kind of 21st century Spielberg, I guess, or that's what he's wanted to be. And he's always been a bit of a safe pair of hands, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
a good visual director and
Yeah.
someone who's not going to reinvent the wheel made sense as a pick for this film, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really excited as well that in Force Awakens like all the main characters were completely new faces as well. Like
Yes.
it really catapulted all of those people's careers. And it's just so exciting, I guess, to see like new blood in Star Wars meeting old blood. Really, I think
Right,
it felt
yeah.
like a really seamless handoff, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I know some
Um,
people are they don't like that it's too similar to A New Hope, which I understand as well, because like it is kind of beat for beat the same story.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I do think it was kind of necessary to introduce it to like a new generation of people.
yeah, I think that it's absolutely what they're going for, and especially, this is not long after the prequels, right? This is only 10 years between releases.
Right. Yeah.
So the prequels are very fresh in
Yeah.
everyone's mind. So there is it's a course correction, right? So we're going to go a little bit off track there. So let's take it back to basics and then hand off to the next person, right? But then in 2016 we have Rogue One, which is the first theatrically released spin-off of Star Wars, right? And it's a big thing. It's like we're going to correct a plot hole from the original film, and it's like, oh god, there's no. I was very worried about this. Like, why do we want this? Who is this for? Who is asking for this? Like, there are no Jedi. Like, the guys with magic and laser swords. I'd rather follow them. Um,
Right. Yeah.
but again, it comes out to great success, I think, and I loved it when it came out. I'm not a fan of it anymore. I'll say that. I
Okay.
find I find pretty much every character dead boring in that. And as popular as the Darth Vader stuff was at the time, I think that is a massive, massive error and a massive warning sign for going forward. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Are we in agreement? Are we
Well,
pushing back on
point,
this?
yeah.
Tam, why did you start off with your opinion? Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't think there's some people that really ride for Rogue One. Like there's some
Yeah,
people that are like, it's my favorite Star Wars movie. And I don't think I've ever been anywhere near that camp. Um, but I think it was an interesting direction to take away from, like, to expand the larger universe of Star
yeah.
Wars, which I really did like. But yeah, I'd say emotionally it doesn't really hit for me that maybe some other people think it does. But I mean, I liked the direction it was taking.
And it also proved that they can do it. They can release a spin-off
Right.
without
Yes.
any
Yes.
of the Skywalkers, and it can be, um, it can have critical and commercial success. So it was a big thing. It was a big risk, and it paid off for them, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah, no, and you see, because I mean, I think I was definitely one of those people at the time when it came out. I was like, I reckon this is top three. I think it's like Empire, maybe then Rogue One, right? Like I was, I
Wow.
was, I was 100% behind this movie. Absolutely loved it. I don't think I've gone as cold on it as you guys have, maybe, but the opinion's definitely gone down. I don't think it's second best Star Wars movie anymore. But I mean, I still kind of liked it. I thought, this was before Disney decided to, because I hate what Disney have done now, where they're trying to tell every story possible, that every single little niche that can be filled, they're trying to fill it. I don't necessarily enjoy that. I like a little bit of mystery. Back then, it was before that I knew that they were going to do all of that, right? So I was like, yeah, this is a story that hasn't been told. And I think I was mostly interested on what happens between the prequels and the original trilogy. I wanted to know what happens there, right? There was a
Right.
big gap at the time, and this was exciting. And yeah, I thought it was I thought it was actually quite refreshing to have a bit of Star Wars without the Jedi's. It's sort of like lower decks for Star Trek.
I
We used to
agree.
following the higher ups, and now suddenly we're looking at Star Wars without any Jedi's, and it's still an interesting universe to look at. But yeah, I absolutely loved it when it came out. I've cooled on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't dislike it, but I'll never forgive them for leaving out my favorite shot from the trailer, which wasn't in the final movie.
Well,
Where,
there were a ton of
Oh,
reshoots, right? So it was a
yeah.
very troubled production.
Oh, right. No, because I mean, there was
yeah,
this beautiful shot of what's her name? Is it Jin
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 yeah.
Ursa?
Jin
Is
Urso.
that her
Yes.
name?
Generoso.
Right. There's this wonderful
Yeah.
shot of her like on the tower or whatever, coming face to face with a TIE fighter. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, what's gonna
I
happen?
know what you
How
mean. Yeah.
right? Like, how do you come
Yeah.
face to face with a TIE fighter? What do you do? And then it never happened. So I was like, oh, come on, man.
Because like
Oh.
there was the same location in the final film, but
Yes,
Yes.
it was
that
when she
communications
was like
tower.
confronting
Yeah.
Director Krennic instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll never
Which I
forgive
mean,
them for that because I
I'm a
was
huge fan of Director Krennic.
Yes.
Director Krennic, I think, is like top 3 Star Wars characters for me ever. Honestly,
Okay,
I
so
love
that's-
that man so much.
I want to pick up on Director Krennic because I think a big flaw of that film is that he's not allowed really to be the villain of the piece. Get
Yeah.
dead-eyed, soulless, reanimated Peter Cushing out of there. Get Darth Vader out of there. Let him be the villain,
Yeah.
right?
right. Yeah.
And we see later
Yeah.
on that he is a very effective villain when he's,
Yeah.
I think, given the runway.
Yeah, you're right, because they were still trying to sell us on the
Yeah.
whole idea back then, right? They're like, we have to have Vader, we have to have Cushing, we have to have people
Yeah.
that people recognize so that they know that
Yeah.
this is Star Wars, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, but they
There needs to be a nostalgic
they
draw back
broke
into
the seal on. Yeah, But so what they in this film, they broke the seal on uh, uh, reanimating dead
Mm,
actors or de-aging as they did at the end, and there wasn't a lot of pushback on that. So it was like, okay, it's okay to do this now,
right. Yeah.
which you know,
Spills
Yeah.
over into the Alien franchise as well,
yeah,
right?
and later stuff we're going to talk about, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that we've spoken about. Like I can't get behind this.
Yeah.
You know, I was fine with it at the time, but
Yeah.
you know,
I
in
I I
hindsight,
think
it's just
I think I
ugly.
also
Yeah,
I I think Carrie Fisher um passed away like fairly soon after Rogue One was released,
Right. Yeah.
and I think that's why it didn't get a lot of pushback as well. I think everyone was like in this process of grieving, and
yeah,
to see Carrie Fisher alive, basically was I think like that. I think hit a
Yeah.
lot
You're
of
right.
people emotionally. I think they could give or take the Peter Cushing, but I think Carrie Fisher was
yeah.
really impactful to a lot of
Yeah. Yeah. No,
people.
you're right. You're right.
Um,
No, and I mean, I just want to quickly say as well about Vader. I mean, I completely agree with what you said about how director Krennic should have been the villain of the film. I must say, though, I'm a massive Vader fan. I mean, he's my favorite character by far. And his scenes in Rogue One I absolutely ate up. All right.
but they're good scenes, but they're just
Yeah.
what they're doing in
Yeah.
like the larger like franchise mechanics of everything is it's representative of like the, you know, the nostalgia baiting that we're
Completely.
like, yeah,
No, I agree. Like
Yeah,
you could have made the movie without them, right? I'm glad we got the scenes because I love the scenes. But yeah, it would have been better and bolder to just not put Vader in. Sort of maybe imply his presence, you know, because if you're on the planet, of course he's there. But like, you know, sort of make him sinister and like in the background, not actually show him
yeah,
directly like that. I think it might have been more effective.
yeah. But you know, sometimes fan service is if sometimes you like lap up fan service. If it's really good, you can't actually argue with it
yeah.
too much, you know.
It's just that the like the lessons they learned from that are probably the wrong ones, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
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 But why don't we talk about I guess the meatiest part of this conversation, which is December 2017, The Last Jedi comes out, which
Indeed.
is maybe the most important pop culture moment of the 21st century.
Okay.
Am I getting
Agreed.
pushback? Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, bold statement, but yeah, I reckon it's justified.
um, and this movie had very strong critical reception. Critics loved it. Fans largely hated it, I think is fair to say. But
Yeah.
let me just. I have some thoughts about like how this affected franchise IP filmmaking, storytelling going
All
forward.
right.
So, in the wake of this,
Mm.
right, it changed how corporations, how much like ground they've given to fandom now, right? That's a big thing.
Okay.
So fandom is now more important in the wake of this. It changed who can make these types of things, right? Ryan Johnson, writer director, very idiosyncratic filmmaker, came in and put a personal stamp on Star Wars, and people push back on that, and now you don't see that in big budget IP filmmaking. It's always a safe pair of hands,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it changed how corporations manage their IP and their characters and the maneuvering of everything around. And I think all of this is like manifests itself in Rise of Skywalker, which we can talk about in a little bit how that happens. But yeah, I just my reaction on the film. This is one of my favorite Star Wars still.
I mean, I think all three of us sitting
Same.
here, it's we tend to have the same opinion, right? I mean, we might have our podcast cancelled after
That's
this.
a
but,
rare occasion. Yeah.
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 I don't think
I
I've ever
mean,
had three people in a room agree on that.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
I mean, I
Uh,
do think as well, you know, as you say, the critics all loved it, the fans all hated it. I have seen over time more and more fans getting on board with it. But I mean, yeah, I walked out the cinema. You know, I said, I've already mentioned that at the end of Force Awakens, I was looking forward to the next films.
yeah,
And when I walked out of Last Jedi, I was pretty much satisfied. I was like, yep, this is what I was waiting for, right? Like, yes, there are
Yeah.
problems with it. I'm not saying that it is perfect and that I love all parts of it. There are parts which I definitely do not like. But the film as a whole, I came out and I was like, oh yes, Star Wars is back, right? Like,
yes,
I'm down for this.
I'm with you on that. I would also say that I am more interested in like a kind of ambitious but kind of maybe like rough around the edges, taking a risk, doing something that is unusual and doesn't work, but you appreciate that it happened. I would take all of that instead of the corporate slop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Not everything
I'm
works, but I appreciate
100%
the
on the
effort.
same page about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
and-
like I would rather have big swings that don't hit
yeah,
rather than cookie cutter
yeah,
thinking you're giving the fans exactly what they want. At the end of the day, Star Wars fans do not know what they want. There are so
a
many
great point.
Exactly.
opinions.
Exactly.
No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. It's like these people, they can't write, they can't write scripts, they don't have so why are we giving them all the power in this? Like,
No, absolutely. Because, you know, I mean, you were saying like there's new characters and everything, but then they're trying to, you know, I think a big problem with the sequels was that they actually ended up having too many old characters with too big roles, right? The roles for the old characters were too big. And what do you do with an old character? Do you preserve them or do you continue their story? You know, because I mean, the most common pushback for this movie is, oh no, Luke would have never acted like this. And it's like, okay, firstly, the whole point of Luke was that he was supposed to go to the bad side, right? He's a Skywalker. His father before him did go to the bad side. The whole original trilogy, we're like, is he going to turn or is he not? And in the end, he doesn't. But now suddenly they're trying to continue the story, right? Like, has he turned? Did he turn? Why has he gone away and been all quiet and everything? And you have the fans saying, oh no, but he's already made the choice to the light, so he's never going to be tempted by it ever again. And then, you know, it's like, okay, so now he's a static character who can never evolve. Why did you bring him back into the movie then? You should have left him alone. You know, like, you have to decide, are you going to progress the story or not? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really boring to think that like none of the characters would change. I mean, I love the idea that also Han and Leia's marriage relationship is also not like it has not survived, and it makes sense why it hasn't survived. The same way I think Luke's character makes sense that it hasn't survived. And I think a lot of people point at like Rey's character and they go, oh, she's a Mary Sue, she's so perfect and too powerful and whatever. And I'm like, Luke Skywalker, the original Mary Sue in Chanel boots. I mean, and are we not like, come on. Like what he just has to come and be awesome and that's all he's allowed to do? Like we can't know.
and I think even some of the people who maybe wanted like an epic Luke standoff or something, and he says in the film, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to face down the whole First Order with a laser sword?
Yeah,
he says literally that, and that's what he does.
That's what he does.
It's still awesome.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like that moment. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's, you know, for me, a lightsaber. There's one big lightsaber fight in every Star Wars film, right? There might be a few smaller ones, but there's one big clash of characters where it's not actually about the lightsabers and the cool moves. It's about the two characters coming together. Yeah. And that moment with Kylo Ren and Luke coming together, I think is like one of maybe not the best, but one of the best it's probably the best lightsaber fight of the trilogy.
Agreed.
And one of them isn't even there and doesn't have a lightsaber, but it's still one of the best lightsaber fights, right?
And like you said, because of all the drama that's under the surface between these two characters.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah, I just and I also would say that some of the criticism I actually don't understand, specifically
Mm.
the Luke stuff. Like I actually don't understand what you mean by it ruined Luke's character and stuff. Like it's so,
No.
I find
Absolutely.
it so rich and rewarding, the writing of that arc.
Yeah.
A genuinely strange criticism to
Yeah.
me. But yeah,
It seems very hyperbolic as well. Like when at the
yes.
time, like it was like this is the worst thing that's ever happened ever, and I'm like, what? It
Yeah.
didn't make
Yeah.
sense.
It's like clearly you guys never watched the prequels because do you remember them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my childhood is dead, and this kind of nonsense. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's
the
why.
movies still exist, right? They're
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah.
You can always
I
watch them.
mean, that's why when
yeah,
Julian, when I recommended to you that my sister come on this podcast to talk about Star Wars, which is one of her favorite things in the world, I wasn't sure if she would be keen because I know that Tam, you've been in the depths of Star Wars discussions and
In the
she's
trenches fighting.
exactly, and she's pretty much done with it. I know that she's sort of reached a
yes,
point where she's like, I'm not discussing with these people. I'm not part of the Star Wars community anymore because I can't deal with this. I mean, is that
yeah.
right, Tam?
Especially, yeah, no, especially like, sorry, but men. I don't talk about Star Wars to men. I'm done with it now because I feel like so many people live in this echo chamber of
Yeah.
repeating the same opinions over and over again, and I'm like, can we get a new thought in the chat? What is going on? Like everyone says, recites the exact same things, and I'm like, surely no, come on.
I mean, you were saying, Julian, you don't understand some of the criticism. I don't think they do either, right? The people who are saying it,
No,
they're just
yeah, I think,
repeating what
No,
they've
yeah,
heard before, and they're like, yeah, this sounds right.
yeah. But
yeah.
like,
It almost makes
it's
me think they didn't see it and just read up the
yeah.
criticism.
But like,
Yeah.
it also it is okay not to like the film. It's just the
Yeah.
extreme lengths to which people go
Yeah.
to like just you can just say I don't like it and then go and rewatch Empire Strikes Back. Move on
Exactly.
with your life.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. No one's
But
forcing you to watch it. It's fine.
exactly. But let's park Last Jedi away for now. We are going to bring it back up.
Yeah,
But
I apologies to any listeners that we couldn't provide a heated debate here. Unfortunately,
balanced
we are
discussion. We're all in
on the
agreement.
same page.
but we can talk about May of 2018 when Solo, a Star Wars story, comes out, and uh, I I checked. I believe it didn't make back its budget, which is
Okay.
incredible, right, for a theatrically released Star Wars film. But it just,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it showed the limits of the spin-off idea,
Yes.
Yeah.
and this is the worst case of like prequelitis, the over-explaining everything, how he got the name
Right.
Solo, the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love about Star Wars, the 1977 Star Wars, is how much it suggests a larger world, right? That you can fill with your imagination. Everyone's talking about stuff that they've done in the past, all these planets and everything. So it's there are only a few locations in the film, but it suggests such a larger universe around it. And as soon as you go and explain everything that's mentioned, you actually make it smaller
Exactly.
because you're limiting the
Exactly.
imagination.
Yeah.
You're limiting the interpretations of everything.
Because it's never going to be as it's like this is the same problem when people complain about a book to movie adaptation. It's never going to be as good as your own imagination of it, right?
Yeah.
You've got your own
Yeah.
picture in your mind, and then it comes on the movie screen, and you're like, well, that's not what I imagined, so I don't like it, right?
Yeah.
And it's confined to the dimensions of a movie screen and the limits of a 2-hour runtime.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
just a mistake this film was. I saw it once when it came out. I don't plan to see it again, but I think it was just a big mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tam,
I
I mean, I
same
don't
feeling.
even.
I don't feel
Yeah.
like.
No, I was
Sorry.
going to ask. I mean, I don't really know what your opinion on this film is, so I'd be interested to hear it.
Right. So I mean, I would describe myself as like a sequels defender. Like I'm an advocate for the sequels really in general. Um, and it's hard for me to say I dislike if I like dislike or actively like hate a Star Wars project in general, but I think this is the movie that comes closest to that. I really don't like
Okay,
Solo at
right.
all, and it's not very rewatchable, as you said, Julian. I don't have any
Yeah,
desire
I
to
also haven't
rewatch it.
watched it in ages, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, I think we can just leave it there. Like, Solo
Well,
came
well,
out.
no. I mean, I actually have. This is the one movie, the one point I think in today's episode where I can give you a best and worst science moment.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be fairly quick with it. But I mean,
Yay!
my worst science moment is probably not quite science, but engineering. Is the design of the ship that they had, the Millennium Falcon. You know, it's always had those two prongs that point out towards
Yeah.
the front. And in Solo, they had it filled up with something. And then in the film, they show that piece breaking off. And now we have
This is what over explaining everything that you see.
Exactly.
Right?
And now it's like,
yeah.
oh, that's why it exists like that. And that, I mean, not only does that ruin headcanon, but it, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff behind Star Wars which explains why the ship is designed like that. And it's because if you think about it, oh no, it's a freighter, but where do they put all the freight? And the fact is that the Millennium Falcon is not supposed to carry the freight. It's supposed to be an engine. So it's almost like how you have a truck cab and you attach it to a trailer. You attach all the freight in its own separate container at the front of that ship. And that those little sort of claw devices at the front of the ship are supposed to grab it, and then you push the freight through space. That's how it was supposed to, that was the design of the ship. And by adding this broken section in it, you've completely ruined the whole design of the ship. Now what the hell are you doing? So
I know.
that's my worst science / engineering moment of the film. Best science moment, however, is something which was wrong or debated in Star Wars for a long time, was the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Now, a parsec is a unit of distance. So how do you do, you know, the Kessel Run was explained as a point A to point B, and you've done it in less distance than other people. How the hell does that work, right? Because parsec has the same problem that light year has, is that it's a light year, or parallax second is the correct, the full name for a parsec. It has a unit of time in it. So people think it's a unit of time. So I think in the original Star Wars, when they said that, they did make that mistake, that they were assuming it was a unit of time, and they made the mistake. In Solo, A Star Wars Story, right?
Yeah.
They came and they corrected
Full
that
government
because
name.
yeah, exactly. They corrected that by making it, it was like a debris cloud or something, right? So you could, it wasn't a straight path from A to B. You could find a shorter path. And that's what they did in the story, is they found a distance which was less than what other people were able to do. So they did it in a less distance. So I really that's the one part of the film which I really, really loved, because that was an open science problem in Star Wars, which is effectively being corrected. So I did like that little part.
Yeah.
There's your little science.
I loved it because it felt like it had like George Lucas's fingerprints on that, where it's like a kind of a thing where he's like, I don't know, look up what's a science factor we can put. Okay, it's
Yes.
a parsec, you know, like it feels so human, like such a human error. And yeah, that's why I'm like, just leave it. It's cute that it's incorrect, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can leave Solo behind. There's not much more to say
No,
about
exactly.
that. I think
Yeah.
maybe the lesson here is that they had a lot of alarm bells about
Yes.
you know, a non-numbered spin-off side quest Star Wars film, right? I think that's the lesson they took from it.
Yeah.
So we can move to 2019, which in November 2019, the Disney Plus platform launches, right? And its launch show was The Mandalorian, right? This is when it
Right.
premiered. This is the first live
Right.
action Star Wars TV show, and I watched weekly when I was there day one, and I loved the Mandalorian season one. I thought it was wonderfully small scale,
Mm.
and Titan, I love an adventure of the week.
Yes,
New,
yes, yeah, you
just
do.
going to a new
Yeah.
planet, a new situation,
Where it's
say,
not all the same story connected necessarily.
yeah.
It's like it's episodic,
Yeah.
right? Which is what a series is
Yeah.
surely supposed to be. You can have a bit of a thread through it, but it should be episodic. Yeah.
yeah, and
Especially
it
a
was
sci-fi series. It's always fun.
yeah, and importantly, the Mandalorian was disconnected from everything else that was going on in season one, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Right,
why
yes.
I
Right.
was very taken with it when it came out. And a month later, the final theatrically released film so far releases episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, which to me is simply, it's one of the worst films ever made. I feel it's completely like creatively, morally bankrupt. Zero good scenes in it.
Yeah.
And as someone who loved The Last Jedi, this film is so transparent in its effort to undo everything that was
Yeah.
quote unquote hated about it. Right. So everyone hated that.
Exactly.
Everyone hated the twist
Yeah.
of Rey's parents. So it's like, okay, well, her grandparents are important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And I mean, let me just say as well. I mean, I think the Rey's parents thing, because we've already spoken about how the sequels were trying to sort of mirror the original trilogy, right? But that was the first big break, because we had a similar scene where on Dagobah, I think, when Luke goes and he sort of has that hallucination of Vader, and it's him inside the mask, right? And that's sort of the first suggestion that
Right.
he's and the big reveal of that film is no, Vader is his father. So we expecting, the movies have been mirroring the original trilogy up until now. We expecting Rey to be someone, and I think that their choice to say no, she's no one, she's just a new person. I think that was the boldest decision of the trilogy, and then they ignored it. Right?
Absolutely.
They're like, oh, this didn't land, so we're just going to go back on our big bold decision.
And thematically profound in the way that anyone can be the hero of the story.
Yes.
Which that's the final shot of the little boy looking up at the stars, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker is just undoing everything, right? So they even like fix Luke's character, right? Because he catches the lightsaber when she throws it away or something.
God.
And they even go so far as to take
So
the
cringy.
one Asian character that they had who was racially abused off of social media, right?
Yeah.
And then they stuck her in the background and gave her one line.
Yeah.
But they went so far as to doing that. It's all over the place here.
Truly disgraceful. It was disgusting. I hate the treatment of I will absolutely the treatment of any people of color in the sequels has just culminated in Rise of Skywalker, I think, with John Boyega's character as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name right now because she was barely in it, but there was also that other black woman that was in Rise of Skywalker as well that teamed up with John Boyega. Just a whole bunch of nothing for those characters, which is so sad and exceptionally unfair to everything.
I mean, there were a lot of characters in the sequels which weren't used as well, right? Like, I mean, in the trailer, the Chrome Trooper. Oh, I was ready for her, right?
Yeah.
And then she was nothing, right? There were a whole lot of things which were exciting and promising, and then they were like, oh no, we don't have time to deal with this person. We're just going to forget about them, right? Chrome Trooper, John Boyega, what's his name? Finn. A lot of characters. They're like, oh no, we're just going to leave them. We don't have time to get to them properly. So, yeah.
And it's clear in the wake of this film that they went in without a plan, right? So I think this is the big failure of Kathleen Kennedy's tenure. Is like, let's get a roadmap
Yeah.
on the board.
Yes.
Let's get it. Let's get
They were
a
scrambling to try and get their reputation
yeah.
back.
Let's
Yeah.
let's put a bulletin board in the office where so everyone who's walking through can understand where we're going, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is another thing: is that everything in the Disney era is kind of reactive, right? So the prequels sucked, and we hate how they were made. So we go back to basics and we use practical effects, right? Oh, everyone thought it was too safe and too similar. So let's go a little bold and let's go out there. Oh no, everyone hated that. So let's undo everything. Oh wait, we ran out of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the space ceded to fandom in the wake of these movies, I think set a bad precedent for the 2020s, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, and Rise of Skywalker, did make $1 billion, but it made like half the money of Force Awakens, right? So
Yeah.
that's also alarming.
Yeah. Somehow the
Right.
franchise survived.
Yeah.
I
It took me a beat.
got
It took me a beat. But yeah, the 2020s now is the TV decade, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's I'd like to start with Mandalorian season 2. I don't know if it was first in this run, or we can kind of jump around a bit. But Mandalorian season 2, which ends with a CGI Luke Skywalker,
Right.
kind of transparently fixing the damage, quote unquote, done by Last Jedi, right? So now he's a hero in the prime of his career and everything.
Right.
And that was the jumping off point for me of Mandalorian. It's like if it's connected to everything else, it's
Right.
it's become the flagship, right?
Yeah.
Of Star Wars. And obviously that, the marketability of Grogu, of Baby Yoda is
Right. Yeah.
it's unbelievable,
Right.
right? It's unfathomable how much money they've made off of that little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they announced a bunch of TV shows in their big TV expansion in 2020. So we're getting Ahsoka, who was introduced in season 2. We're getting the Book of Boba Fett, because he was brought back in season 2 of Mandalorian. We're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we get Andor. And
yes.
interestingly, if you had asked me at the time what I was most skeptical of, I would have said Andor, because I was like,
Absolutely.
a boring guy from a
Right.
spin-off.
Yeah.
You're like, why are we doing that?
And I mean, if you
Yeah.
go back because he's from Rogue One, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you go back and watch Rogue One, now knowing that, Andor's supposed to be like the guy who's sort of, got a backstory and he's the one that we focus on. Like, he's no different from any of the others necessarily, right? Like, he's maybe the
Right.
second sort of character, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't think that he had more to tell us, right? Watching that movie, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have chosen him specifically as the person to expand.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, it
it's
almost
an
seemed more
interesting.
sense to like look into Jyn Erso's origin story,
Yeah.
Yes.
versus
Yeah.
Cassian. So
But an interesting slate, right? And I think it's 2021 when we have the Book of Boba Fett, which is what a strange thing they've done here,
Completely.
because it was season 2.5
otherwise
of
known
the
as
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian season
That's what
2.5. Yeah.
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 So Mandalorian and Grogu are split up at the end of season 2 of their show, and they're reunited in a different show. So if you don't, you have to watch all the shows now to do your
Very
homework
weird.
to understand. And
I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I can't even differentiate this in my head, really. I'm like, which season was it, and what happened at the end of which season, because I don't know
Yeah.
which is where or anything. Now, I cannot tell you what happened in season 2 of Mandalorian or what happened in Book of Boba Fett, right? It's sort of, just,
Me
I
neither.
think I've
It's
watched all of it,
indistinguishable.
right?
it's just very strange that a show called Boba Fett was that had full episodes without Boba Fett in it. Right? It just
Literally, yeah.
a very weird failure there. They're not, I don't think they're
Mm.
gonna make any more of that. Yeah.
No.
'Wasn't
20,
there supposed to be a movie at some stage? Or was that the movie that we're getting now for The Mandalorian?
I don't know the number of
Well,
movies
that
they've
was like way
announced
back
and
when.
cancelled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
it was just
while the sequels were still happening, even before the sequels, I think there was always talk of a Boba Fett movie,
yeah.
Oh,
because
right.
there was this mysterious character that no one had really explored that much. But yeah, I think this is the movie, is the Boba Fett
Okay.
series.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably it. They knew that TV was the way to go, so they reworked a script that they had lying around
Mm, mm.
into a
yeah,
miniseries, right? Um, but 2022, I think we have two shows this year, if I'm not mistaken. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi early in the year, which I do not understand at all the purpose of, because Revenge of the Sith put every character in the position that they needed to be in for A New Hope,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So they
Right.
were
Right.
all there, all the work had been done. So you can't have any drama in Obi-Wan Kenobi because every important character is going to be in the
Yeah.
same place as when they started the show.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, look, because I will be, I think I've mentioned it already with Rogue One. I always wanted to know more about that time period, the period before Revenge of the Sith. I mean, after Revenge of the Sith and before
yeah,
A New Hope. But I think they did tend to focus on the wrong parts, right? Like they tried to answer the question, how does what's her name, Leia, know Obi-Wan? And the answer to that is she didn't.
right,
In New Hope, she didn't know him. She was like, "You helped my father. I've heard about you. You
Yeah,
helped my father in the Clone Wars. I don't know you, but I'm going to
exactly.
send you a
Yeah,
message because I remember him speaking about you." Um, and they're like, "Oh no, we have
yeah,
to explain how they know each other." They don't. So that whole sort of part of the series, I was like, okay, whatever.
yeah.
I don't think this is true, but whatever.
I would say that like Obi-Wan for me, like the series is my Darth Vader corridor moment. Like that's the fan service that
Mm,
was really catering to me. So it's hard for me to not like it, but I obviously
yeah,
I understand that there's so many misses and things that it is unnecessary at the end of the day. It's hard for me not to be emotional about it because it's everything I've ever wanted. But at the same time, I think it failed on a lot of levels as well, which is sad.
I remember watching the first episode and loving it, because there was still a lot of time left
Mm,
for it to ruin itself. But I think there's a moment where Obi-Wan like digs out a lightsaber from the sand in the desert, and it's like
yeah.
that Bugs Bunny meme where he's like, "Lord, forgive me, it's time to go back to the old me." And I was like, okay, they like Obi-Wan digging his lightsaber out of the sand and going back to his old ways. It just
Yeah,
works in that moment.
yeah.
yeah.
But I want to, because we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Mm,
I want to comment on this trend of, de-aging everyone. Well, they're not de-aging anyone because they're having actors, random actors come in and then putting Mark Hamill's face over them or Carrie Fisher's face over them
right.
or stuff like that,
Right.
right? One of the most iconic Star Wars characters of all time, one of the most iconic performances rather of all time, is a recasting, right? We're
Right.
all grown ups. We can handle a recast to Luke Skywalker. I feel like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay to
Yeah.
recast a character.
Yeah.
It's better
Yes.
than a soulless, dead eyed, facsimile of someone.
No,
And
completely.
Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor's proof of that, right? We all love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, completely. No, and I mean, as well, like, we've spoken already as well about how actors who are in bad roles in Star Wars get a lot of hate, right? And I think Hayden Christensen got a lot of hate from the prequels, and
Mm,
we've the prequels have sort of grown on a lot of us, and I think to see him come back in the Kenobi series was a little bit of justice, right? It was sort of like, yeah, you weren't necessarily the reason why the prequels were terrible. Like, yeah, okay, there were some scenes where his acting wasn't fantastic the whole time,
Yeah.
but it is also iconic. So I think having him back, and I don't think they de-aged him. They were just like, yeah, okay, he's a bit old, but just
No.
pretend, right? um,
Yeah, yeah.
so I loved seeing him and Ewan McGregor back on screen, and I think the part of the Kenobi series which was really fantastic was the confrontation between Obi-Wan and Vader, where he, sort of says, "Oh, you didn't kill me, I did," and all of that. I don't think it should have been done, because in A New Hope, that's supposed to be the first time they meet since Revenge of the Sith, right? That's the
Yeah.
whole point. That's
Sure.
what makes the fight in New Hope so important. So I don't think they should have done it, but I think what we saw,
Yeah.
I remember getting really emotional and really like, oh my God, it's them back on screen together and everything. So somehow I wish they didn't do it, but I love what they did with it, right?
I
Yeah.
I found it eye rolling, the final confrontation, because
Okay.
I just kept thinking, I've seen this. This scene has happened with
Right.
these stakes, right, between these characters. It's
Yeah.
like the point of the whole show. It's like Revenge of the Sith did all the work to get to A New Hope. There's
Right.
nothing
Yeah.
really left in between
Sure.
for you to
Sure.
do.
Yeah.
And I think that was the big problem with Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi. But
Yeah.
Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor, being still younger than Alec Guinness, and being ready and able,
Yeah.
ready and willing to go ahead. They'd be foolish not to use that because it's so popular,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the trend that I think I see. I think a lot of people blame stuff on Kathleen Kennedy, but it's something that's making me nervous now for the future as well. I think it's Dave Filoni's influence on it instead, which is the
Yeah,
trend of old man with young child, reluctant fatherhood kind of thing. I mean, it's happened in Mandalorian, it's happened in Bad Batch, it's happened
Okay.
in a Kenobi now. It's just it's such an easy way to tug on people's heartstrings, but it is really getting old now. It's we need to move on from this trope. It's just it's too much.
Yeah.
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 And I think the other Dave Filoni thing is um, the obsession with canon, right? And everything has to be linked, and everything has to be. If
Yeah,
something has gone wrong, we have to fix it. So we have to bring in, young Luke and all of
yeah,
that, right? And
right.
staying on Dave Filoni, we can now talk about his least favorite show. Um, there are rumors throughout Hollywood. This is unconfirmed. Rumors throughout Hollywood that he hates Andor, right?
Oh.
Interesting. Andor is also 2022.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, this is the one. I absolutely adore Andor, and I
same.
love. I have like a Mount Rushmore of TV sci-fi, which is obviously Star Trek, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica, and I would say the X Files, right? And I really like. I'm trying so hard to fit Andor in on it. I love it that much. I
Okay.
think it
Right.
is. Um, it's
Yeah.
comfortably on the level of an Empire Strikes Back in Star Wars for me.
I
Um,
I had the same thing, like a moment of madness, I would say, but also maybe it's valid, which is like literally the second after I finished season 2 of Andor, I've got like a rudimentary ranking of all the Star Wars projects like on my notes app, and as soon as it finished, I moved Andor to my number one spot above Empire Strikes
Oh.
Back, and I don't think that's ever happened to me. And I don't know if I still feel that. Maybe it was like a recency bias thing, but
yeah,
it
maybe,
is
but
truly I've not felt this excited about Star Wars in such a long time. It's
Okay.
so
yeah,
Wow.
amazing.
yeah, and Andor was an auteur driven project. It was Tony Gilroy who handled the reshoots of Rogue
Mhm.
One, right? Came in with a vision and was given the space and was allowed to see that vision through, right? And it's
Mm.
disconnected from everything. It's there are no nostalgic characters showing up. It just told a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
um, thoughtful and deep and rich and complicated story
yes,
for
yeah,
adults, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We got a lot more of the grit of the world, right? I mean,
It's
correct me as
exactly
well.
what you were asking
Mm.
for. This is what you were
Yeah,
asking for.
yeah, you know, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, also confirm. I've forgotten. Were there Jedi's in it? Were there any Jedi's in the show?
There was a force
Don't
sensitive
think so.
healer. There was a healer in
Okay,
season 2, right?
Oh,
right.
right, right. In season 2.
When they
Okay,
were at
but
the
you know, we were
space, yeah.
speaking about Rogue One. It's like, oh, you don't want to see a story without the Jedi's, and you were disappointed because it's like, oh, you know, it's not the story that I want to see. But here they have done that, and it
Yeah,
is the story that you want to see. So I think it's proof that you can do that. That there is stuff in Star Wars that you can talk about that isn't necessarily to do with the main plot exactly, and it can still be interesting. You just have to do
Yeah.
it in a different way. You can't pretend that they're the Jedi's when they're not, right? So yeah, I think it was a little bit more of the mechanics of the world, which yeah, we were obviously all craving, right? We wanted to see a little bit more about what
Yeah.
goes on off the big screen.
yeah. Um, just
Yeah.
phenomenal stuff.
And I
There you
think like
go.
for like a lot of the criticism, like the old criticism about like the prequels is people talked about how boring the politics are, especially in like Phantom Menace. They're like, oh, who
Yes.
cares about a trade blockade?
Right.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
so boring and whatever. And I think it's like to some people that maybe didn't realize it at the time, it's like how political Star Wars is and how
I mean, it's a
interesting that
war,
can
right? I
be.
mean, it's supposed to be about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the name, but yeah, some people are like, get politics out of Star Wars. We don't want to see this. And I'm like,
Yeah,
hello?
I've
It's
never really
always been
understood that
political.
criticism. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I never.
Yeah,
That was never the reason why I hated the prequels. You know, it was
Yes.
CGI and a little bit of
never.
bad acting here and there. It was never, oh, they speak about politics too much. I was like, yeah, I want to hear about that. I want to know why the war happened and why everyone's angry with each other, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah,
And it scarily parallels everything that's going on in the world, you know?
exactly, exactly. We're
Um,
starting to see it
my
now.
my
Yeah.
favorite Yeah, my favorite comment about someone that hates the sequels said like something like, you know what, I don't like the sequels, but granted, I didn't know that a fascist regime could come back, but stupider in real life as well, because that's pretty much what's happening.
But stupider, yeah. Less cool
Yeah,
and not quite
let's.
as intimidating.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah, I think then we can go to 2023, and I believe the only big new project this year is Ahsoka, which I have not
right.
seen. I'm not going to see, but maybe someone could take the floor on this one.
yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen it, but I'm sure Tammy has.
Surely.
Yeah, I've seen it. There's not much to say, honestly. I mean, look,
Oh,
I
sorry,
I
sorry.
love Ahsoka as a character, but
This is the
yeah,
this is the one. This is the first Dave Filoni led one. This is
Ah,
fully in his control, right? I think that's important as
right,
well.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is that as a huge fan of the Clone Wars, it's difficult for I don't feel like they really match up with the same
mm,
energy of like who we know Ahsoka to be, and um, I almost feel like it's done the reverse of Luke growing old, where it's like you know, I think Luke became kind of controversial growing older, and I feel like it's really stagnated with Ahsoka. She's kind of a boring character in her own show, and I think that's such a
right.
disappointment because I love her as a character.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was probably better because I mean, I watched a handful of episodes, I think, with Tammy of the Clone Wars, but I definitely didn't watch the whole thing. but she definitely sat me down and made me watch the last season, right, which was released a lot after, quite a bit after they had finished the rest of the show. And I think I remember that being really good. I mean, I remember sort of how the show ended. I don't remember the details, but I remember that was fantastic. And I think Ahsoka was obviously
It was
part of
really
that
good.
show. So I mean, if she's an animated character, keep her as an animated character. I think that's sort of where it thrives, right? And then as soon as you try and sort of bring it into live action, it might fall apart somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is also, I think now everyone is starting to talk about the Mandoverse, right? So characters who are crossing over with Mandalorian and everything. So that is now a pocket in the Star Wars live action universe where people are jumping in and out of and crossing over, and it's clear that there's a big focus on this going forward, right? But after Book of Boba Fett, CGI Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka, like I'm so disinterested in all of this, right? I do not want this.
There's a fatigue for sure.
Fatigue is right.
It takes like efforts to actually sit down and watch some of the projects these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think at this time they're also announcing a lot of films, right? So there's been announced a new trilogy, right? It's supposed to be coming out, and we're going to get a story about Rey, getting the Jedi back, reinstating the Jedi organization. There's going to be a crossover event film for the Filoni Mandoverse, right? James Mangold is going to do an origin story of the Jedi at some point. This is throughout this whole time. They're always announcing things and canceling things. That could be a whole separate episode on the things that have been announced that have been canceled. Right?
Yeah.
But in 2024, very interesting. I think that there's only one major release, which was The Acolyte. Maybe another cultural touchstone moment because of the it's the anti-woke versus woke brigades, right? Warring over this, right? Yeah, which is tiresome and boring and total nonsense.
Absolutely.
The show was not very good because it just needed more drafts, right? It was just a kind of shitty first draft, but it was what we were asking for. It was an interesting, bold, ambitious swing, and it didn't stick the landing. But there are things in that show that I'm still thinking about as it relates to Star Wars versus like a Mandalorian or something.
Right. And I mean, okay, so I haven't watched that. I think I remember it being is that from like the Old Republic or something? It's like long ago.
Yeah. I think it's like 100 years before the prequels, something like that.
Because I mean, that's sort of the era that I thought that is still left, unexplored. I would have liked to have seen more of that. But yeah, I haven't gotten around to that because, we were just saying about fatigue and everything. I can't keep up with everything. I don't know what's going on right now. I didn't even know if they'd released the show or not. I'd heard about it. And so now it's come out. Cool. I'm not keeping up with all of this stuff anymore just because I'm like, whatever. I'll watch it at some stage.
Like it has gotten to a point, I feel like, where I've become very numb to a lot of Star Wars projects where I don't have huge opinions either way. It just feels like getting this next chore done, really. Just making
it's homework.
Exactly. And you have to watch it in order to still be able to call yourself a fan, right? Like, you haven't watched that? Oh, well, speak to me when you have,
Exactly. Yeah. And I then, especially with the kind of discourse that's around it, I often feel like defending things that aren't very good just because of the mindless discourse that is talked about. I mean, especially with
because it's not that bad.
But I mean, huge racism, huge misogyny around the discussions of Acolyte, and that's why I'm like, when you're faced with that, I feel like I then defend Acolyte without it really deserving my defense. But it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's really tough to sit through those discourses, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, heaven forbid that something is bad and also made by a woman, right? Like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh
that's the end of it, right?
no, I'm so nervous about the Ray movie because like it's not even been talked about really what it's about, but people heard it was going to be about Ray and directed by a woman, and that's all they needed to know with them to
Yeah.
absolutely already hate it. And I'm like,
Right, yeah.
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Um, yeah, that's I think that's 2024 really. 2025 I know for me was Andor season 2. So, that was like the best show of last year. But
Yeah.
2026 theatrically released Star Wars movies are back because we have The Mandalorian and Grogu in the cinemas, right? So after all these announcements, we
Mm.
get just based on the trailers, what looks like just a long episode of the show, right? It doesn't look very spectacular or special in any way.
Okay.
It looks like a neat adventure that would be in the show, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
just quickly want to add that I find it very amusing because you have actually missed a release of something pretty big, I guess,
oh,
but it went under the radar, which is
All
Skeleton
right.
Crew. The
oh,
TV series
yes,
Skeleton Crew came out,
yes, yeah, you're right.
and
Okay.
Yeah, I
the
didn't watch that though, so
there was absolutely no movement. There was no movement in the Star Wars community. I didn't hear anyone talking about it. It was crazy.
What is that about? Is that
I
the
don't
one
even know
with
what people's
the
opinions are.
that's the one
what's
about
it?
kids. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Once again, the Dave Filoni trend kind of continues on. It's Jude Law plays sort of this anti-hero smuggler type, and he accidentally kidnaps a bunch of kids.
Yo, I haven't even heard
I
of that.
mean, I
Okay.
thought it was relatively fun, but it did not move. It did not even appear on the radar, which was crazy to me
Right.
because it seemed like an extremely expensive project for the nothing to
Uh,
happen from it. Yeah.
Now, I mean, what I was actually thinking it was, which I've just remembered, is I think at some stage there was the Bad Batch. I think that was
Yeah.
maybe animated. Because I mean, I didn't watch that,
Yeah.
but I know you probably did, Tam, because I think it's a continuation of Clone Wars. It's like the soldiers from
Yeah.
there or whatever.
Yeah. Which was good.
So I mean,
That's
oh, okay,
like well liked. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of
Um,
like it's the same. It's the same of the quality of what you expect in Clone Wars, I'd say.
okay.
Yeah.
but a big thing happened early this year, which is Kathleen Kennedy stepped down as president of Lucasfilm and
Right.
was replaced by Dave Filoni. Right. So um, the we could fairly accurately say that the canon obsessed Mandoverse guy is taking over, and Kathleen Kennedy has obviously stepped down. But she gave an interview, right, which is very interesting, where she just basically listed out a bunch of projects that they have in development. So I'm going to go through them,
All
right.
right.
So first up, she mentioned a film directed by James Mangold, who directed Le Mans '66 and the recent
Ah,
Indiana Jones film and a bunch of other action stuff. Co-written with one of the Andor writers, Bo Willimon. She described it as incredible, breaking the
Okay.
mold, very creatively ambitious, but it was currently on hold as Lucasfilm takes stock of everything, right? Creatively ambitious. We like that. That's
yes.
we've established on this pod that we like that.
Yes.
Um, then another film by Taika Waititi, who's not my cup of tea, but
No.
an idiosyncratic filmmaker, a unique voice, right? She said it's hilarious and great, and somewhat alive at Lucasfilm, right? And another film by Donald Glover, who played young Lando Calrissian,
Oh.
Yeah.
um, but also a very interesting artistic voice. He's obviously Childish Gambino, but he also had a show Atlanta, which was a
Yeah.
totally weird,
Yes. That he
surreal show
produced.
that I think uh, wrote and direct some of it, right? Um, which
Right.
was a basically a platform like just very interesting and weird short films that he was interested in, right?
Yeah.
So he has a script there
Mm.
that's somewhat alive still, described as. Um, David Fincher, one of the greatest directors of the last 30 years, right? She's been courting him, right? So there's been some interest on both sides of getting him in. You
Oh.
know, talking to David Fincher, like, come on, let's do this. Uh, Alex Garland also
Yeah.
being courted by them, right? He is off making Elden Ring right now. They started filming last week. Um, but an interesting
Right.
voice in science fiction who was approached by Star Wars to do something. And of course, the big reveal of the last few months, Steven Soderbergh, one of another great filmmaker of the last 40 years, had a full script, The Hunt for Ben Solo, it was called,
Oh.
ready to go. I mean, they were ready to go into
Mm.
production on this thing, and it's not happening anymore, right? So we have all these interesting things um, that she was working on, basically, right? And we have two films coming out, Mandalorian and Grogu, which were like, okay, what is this? This is just an episode of TV. At least that's how I feel. And next year we have The
Yeah.
Last Starfighter, directed by Sean Levy, who's like the ultimate, for me, the ultimate like corporate stooge, right? He did Deadpool and Wolverine, which I thought was like just
Oh.
kind of disgusting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, uh, so it's interesting that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, I was talking to David Fincher, I was talking to Alex Garland. Steven Soderbergh was ready to make a movie with me.
Yeah.
But anyway, enjoy Ahsoka
Right.
season 2.
Yeah.
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 So yeah,
Nice.
it's
That's really funny. What an exit. Yeah.
yeah. So you know, Mandalorian changed everything with the TV landscape for Star Wars when it came out. It was so successful, right? And everything has kind of
Hmm.
followed in that wake. TV over film, the Mandoverse is taking over, and now again, it is it is going to be an inflection point. I don't think Mandalorian and Grogu is going to do very well financially, and I
No.
think we've established that this is a very reactive, um, era for Star Wars. Like, their big cash cow is going to do is not going to do very well. I'm curious what's going to happen there. Um, I haven't asked you guys. Are you like excited to
Yeah.
see Mando
I
and Grogu?
also I honestly forgot it was coming out. So when Titan asked me to, he was like, "Oh, we'll talk about the new film."
Oh,
I went,
yes.
"The Ryan Gosling film." Like I
Yeah,
genuinely
that's
forgot it was
yeah.
coming out. But I have to, yeah, I've talked to a friend of mine recently about it. And I don't remember too much from Mandalorian season 3 except for the things I didn't like. Um, which I now think is a big problem for this film. Her and I, we were talking about the fact that like season 3 of Mandalorian kind of, it's like a rise of Skywalker. It goes back on everything that I think the arc in season 2 tried to accomplish, which is, that he sort of broke out of this cult and is like starting a new life. And then season 3 is him re-entering the cult, putting the mask back on. But now
Right.
watching the
Yeah, yeah,
trailer for this new Mandalorian thing, the mask is off again. So what
Well,
was any of that for?
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, uh, just marketing wise, like you have to show that you have Pedro Pascal in your film, right? Like
Yes, exactly.
you have to
Yeah.
put him there
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
people
Because
showing up.
I feel like, was he even in season 3? Like it was probably
Right.
just, he was probably in 10% of it, and the four stuntmen took everything else. So
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, I
yeah,
think I'm sort of a similar opinion where I think, like, I loved season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian, and I think it was a perfect ending. I mean, I know you've taken issue with the actual ending, but like that was the ending of the show as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
for
and I was
for
happy
for the
with that, I
character,
guess,
yeah.
you know.
exactly. It's like, all right, so he's done now. He's handed Grogu
Yeah,
over. That's it. And now, exactly as you say, like, okay, what do we do for season 3 now? Oh, we better make him put on the mask again and show the Mandalorians and all of that. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, yeah, his story's done. That's why you're struggling
yeah.
to come up with stories. So,
My
yeah,
biggest my biggest bugbear about season 3 is that they introduced this mind washing, like memory wiping technology, like Chekhov's mind washing machine. They introduced this at the beginning of the season, and I got really excited about it because I predicted it was kind of going to be like a Doctor Who thing of like Donna's mind being wiped, right?
mm,
And I went, oh my gosh, they're going to wipe Mando's mind and he's not going to remember the child. Drama, perfect. You could. That's what the movie can be about, right? But
right.
I honestly, and then they didn't. They introduced that technology and immediately forgot about it. But now I'm like, I have no idea what this film is about. Honestly,
Yeah.
even watching the trailers, I have no idea what they're
Nope,
doing.
yeah.
No, and I mean, I feel, it's been a long time since I've watched Mandalorian. I'm definitely not going to rewatch it before the movie. I feel
No,
like I'm not really going to know what the movie's about even when I'm there, right? I'm going to be
yeah.
like, there's going to be like references back to stuff that's happened, and I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I'll ask Tammy about this later,
They're also probably banking on that many people maybe
Yeah,
didn't make it through the series, so it's probably going to be also a big nothing burger of like making something that is now palatable to everyone, even if you
yeah,
didn't see the shows. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting moment for the franchise, of course. And I think
Mm,
with everything that we've discussed, the kind of reactivity um, to everything, the lack of a vision for the sequel trilogy, um, everyone's kind of gone back and been like, oh, wait, there's stuff in the prequels that actually I do really like here.
yeah,
It had a complete
yeah,
artistic
yeah,
vision over
yes,
the whole trilogy. That's a big thing for people. Um, yeah, I'm a
yeah,
huge Revenge of the Sith fan. I think it just
yeah,
genuinely like approaching masterpiece kind of territory for me.
yeah,
And I think it's the first time in the prequel trilogy where the technology is really there for Lucas in the way he wants
mm,
it to be. So that helps a lot. But yeah, just for the Disney era, it's just kind of all a bit of a mess. A lot of
mm,
uh, a lot of like wading through the middle ground, and doing your homework. Some very high highs, some very low lows, and
yeah,
a lot of meh in the middle
yeah,
there.
yeah,
yeah. They seem to be throwing whatever they can at the wall and hoping something sticks. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, say what you will about the MCU, but that first phase building up to Endgame
yeah,
was, the plan was there and was executed over 10 years. And I don't know, maybe Star Wars would benefit
yeah,
from just having a clear road ahead,
yeah, yeah,
or you just do the other thing,
yeah,
which is get interesting people and interesting voices in and let them do what they want. Um,
yeah.
which, you know,
yeah,
in the wake of The Last Jedi is not what they want to do.
I mean, I think that was like one of the most promising
no,
things of the sequel trilogy is like, oh, it's not the same director the whole time, right?
yeah,
We're gonna get different flavors, we're gonna get different stuff. I thought that was a very good choice, and it was working, right? The Last Jedi was different. It did shock people, right? Even if you ended up loving it, it's shocking.
yeah,
Um, and then they were just like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We have to dial back on this, right? Like trying to raise the individuality." So yeah, as you say, it's they've decided their direction now, and it's not that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
interested where the franchise goes now because I feel like I all three trilogies I think are so perfect of like perfectly reminiscent of like what technology is doing in that period. So I think the
yeah, very
original
true.
series is so 80s, and then the prequels are so early 2000s, and now Star Wars, as it always has, is kind of at the forefront of technology that's in the industry at the moment. They are always the ones taking the big swings and steps in terms of technology. And now in these new projects that they've made with the series, they're very reliant on the volume, which is like the space that they shoot in with all the LED screens around it, so they get that very
Yeah,
natural looking lighting effect. But I think that was
Mm,
really cool when it was introduced in Mandalorian, but now they're using it in all the Star Wars projects and even other movies
yeah,
as well. Everyone's using the volume these days, and I think it's just giving all the same bland
yeah,
style
yeah,
to everything now. Like, I don't know if
yeah,
that's a color grading thing or whatever, but everything looks the same. And I miss the days where they shot on location. Let's go back to Tunisia. Let's go back to Norway. Come on, like
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely, yeah,
missing I'm missing, having those real life
yeah.
locations.
Because I can't imagine stepping into any of those worlds, right? Whereas I can imagine going to Tatooine, for example, because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
feels like a real place. I'm like, oh, I want to let me loose there. I want to explore, right? But if
yeah.
it's just this, digital world, I'm like, yeah, okay, but yeah,
There
cool. It's
feels
an
like there's
alien
a
world.
boundary. It feels
Yeah,
like there is an invisible boundary there where you can't
yeah,
really imagine
yeah.
past that invisible wall.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but do we have any final thoughts then? I think we covered everything mostly.
Yeah, I mean, I know you wanted to tell us about a specific project that you would want to do
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
All right.
if you
Yeah, I
had
thought
free
it'd be
reign.
fun. Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to pitch, the dream Star Wars project. Um, and mine,
Hmm.
which this is probably not very original. I'm sure if you scour the internet, you'll find this exact idea out there somewhere. But um, let's go back to the prime of the Jedi. So this is probably like acolyte time, and give me
Hmm.
a Jedi Master and a Padawan, and just make them space cops. So they just go to a planet every
Right.
week in a TV show, and there's a murder or there's a gangster or something, and they show up for 45 minutes and save the day.
Just
I
Jedi
would,
doing their job. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cute.
just
I like that. Yeah.
yeah, and no like galactic stakes or
Right.
anything like that. Just whatever's in front of them that week on that planet. I would um
Yeah.
lap that
Yeah.
up, as we say on today.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think so. Yeah. Tam, do you have an idea? Did you think about it at
Um,
all?
I guess just the fact that Andor like was really interesting to me. I think I would like something else political. Maybe not for a while. Maybe just give it a bit. But I don't know. I know there are some novels written about it, but I haven't read them yet. But I would love to maybe hear about sort of Padme's like her rise to becoming or like that whole kind of political situation in Naboo where they've got these 14-year-olds being monarchs, but then they also have whatever's going on there. I think could be interesting politically. I guess that would be my choice.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, what I've always wanted to see more of is between the prequels and the original trilogy. But now we've seen that. We had Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't think there's not much more you can do there. I think adding anything there would you're going to mess with things, right? Um, I think mostly what I wish Star Wars would do is less. So my dream
That's very
project would be
true.
to cut things out and just let it rest for a bit. But if I were to have to choose to make a show about anything, I think I would definitely want to see a young Sheev Palpatine, and his master Darth Plagueis. I mean, I think we've been told about some sort of story there. I don't know how much there would be to say. You probably risk messing things up as well. But I think that's the one thing that I would
Yeah.
still like to know about young Sheev doing his
They
shenanigans.
there were a lot of talks like of Rise of Skywalker before it came out that Matt Smith was originally going to be part of the cast, and everyone
Mm,
thought that he was going to be a young Palpatine. So
Okay.
hey, let's get Matt Smith back. I think that could be fun.
That sounds
You
like a plan.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's everything, I guess, for Disney Star Wars. I enjoyed that. That was a
Yeah,
good
I did
chat,
as
a
well.
good
As well.
debrief.
I'm looking.
Um,
Please, please, please leave some hate comments about Last Jedi. I really want to read them.
he wants to
Please
get
do
going.
I will not be reading them. It's okay.
But yeah, we will be talking about Star Wars again very soon when Mandalorian and Grogu comes out. Obviously, a theatrically released Star Wars film. Even if we don't want it, we're going to talk about it, right?
we're gonna go and watch it. We're gonna talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll be returning with some Star Wars chat then. And as for next week, we will have to decide a film,
Yes, we
which we
haven't
haven't
quite
decided yet.
gotten there yet.
Yeah. But we'll be back next Monday to talk about whatever interesting science fiction film we've decided for that week. So until then, oh, and of course, thank you very much to our lovely guest,
May the
Tammy,
force be with
for joining
you.
us.
Hey,
And
there we go.
Hey, thank you. It was great to be on. Listen, I'm glad a huge portion of my brain space is worth something, you know.
Yeah, no, good thing I forced you to sit down and watch that original movie. I'll never let that go.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you,
it's
Tony.
all
Thank
thanks to
you.
me. Yeah.
It is, yes. Eternally grateful.
Yeah, usually I sign off with the iconic quote from Star Trek, but I think for today I shall say, "May the Force be with you."
Indeed.